What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Valiant, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. Today we got part 36 of the 82-part series. Ja Morant's out for the season. Michigan wins the Natty, and Jim Harbaugh might be going to the NFL. I'll talk about it all on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
That ball is out of here! Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection. For three. Bang!
Win 121-105, beat the Wizards, but more importantly, 4-0 in the OG Anunoby era. This trade is turning out to be a really good trade, at least in the immediate future. Anunoby, another big game. And for him to have a big game, I don't look at the points. I look at more of the rebounds, which he had 5 of, and the plus minus, which he was plus 11. One of his smaller plus minuses as a Knick, surprisingly, because over his first 3 games as a Knick, he had a plus 79, which is incredible, the most in the NBA over that span. And I'll take it, but plus minus doesn't matter if you're not getting wins. But the Knicks are getting wins. First at home against the Timberwolves, then at home against the Bulls, then in Philly where they got the best win of the season. 36-point win over those Sixers. I hate Philly. And then now, another big win, 121-125 over the Washington Wizards. And Julius Randle, another 39-point performance paired with Brunson's 33 points. So now, over the first, 33 games, Brunson and Randle did not have a game where both of them scored 30 points. Now, 2 over the last 4 games, that's exactly what they did. First against the Bulls and now against the Wizards. Brunson with 33, Randle with 39, Dante with 10, and then off the bench, Josh Hart led with 8 points. The box score is popping up on the screen right now if you want to check out any of the other scores. But a good all-around game for the Knicks. And in this one, we had 5 people with a minus in the plus minus. Now against the Sixers, that didn't happen. Oh, we gotta change that. No, I'm just playing. But it will be nice for everybody to be a plus. Achua and Sims getting minutes. It was only 2 minutes, so it's garbage time. Then you got Malachi Flynn with a minute in garbage time. Taj Gibson, who was just waived a couple days ago, did not play. Same with Evan Fournier and Ryan Arcidiacono. Deuce McBride had another game in 13 minutes. He had 5 points, a steal, 5 assists. So over the last 2 games, he's made a nice impact for this team. And I like Deuce. He's another tenacious defender, and he passes the ball well. The scoring isn't there for him every game, and for most games it's not. But you see it with the game against the Sixers, he broke loose for 15 points. The deuce is loose, as we say around here in Nickland. But Hartenstein, another 19 boards with 8 points. And in 2024, he's averaging 10.5 points, something higher than Mitchell Robinson. Now, the thing I have a bone to pick with Knicks fans, because after Hartenstein's had this emergence, and he's looking like a really good player in the NBA now, one of the best rebounders, looking like Mitchell Robinson, basically, and not even that much of a downgrade version, maybe an upgraded version of Mitchell Robinson. But now Knicks fans are trying to trade Mitchell Robinson, which I can't bring myself to do. Hartenstein, yes, he's a great player, and not a great player. He's a good player in the NBA right now. But is he going to be able to sustain this success over an 82-game season, and then into the playoffs when it matters most? And also, Hartenstein is an expiring contract. So we might not even retain him. And if we're trading Mitchell Robinson away at the trade deadline, who's going to be our center next year? And with Tibbs' style of coaching, we need a good center. We need an anchor on the defensive end. We need someone who's going to get that 10 to 20 rebounds every single night. And I just can't see us trading away Hartenstein. Mitchell Robinson still recovering from that ankle injury. He's going to be out this whole season, but I'm okay with it. As long as Hartenstein can play well and keep playing well. Achua, he's done all right. He had 2 points in this one, a foul, and no other stats. 1 for 1 from the field. But the rebounding is the only thing I think he could improve on. I thought he was going to be better at that, but even if he's not as good as Hartenstein and Robinson, I think the Knicks had the best big man rotation in all of basketball before Robinson got hurt. I mean, who's better? The Bucks have Giannis and Brook Lopez, but both of them start and Giannis plays the 4. I can't even think of another team that has nearly as good of a rotation as the Knicks do. Because you have 2 of the top rebounders in the league, and that's what Hartenstein's emerged as, a top rebounder right now. For now, we'll see how it ends up come April, May, June. Hopefully in June, because that's when the finals is, and that's where we want to be. But Jalen Brunson, the not 1A superstar player, Mr. Jalen Too Small Brunson. Nah, Jalen Marquise Brunson went out there and won Eastern Conference Player of the Week, silencing the haters yet again. This dude does not take no for an answer. Jalen Brunson is persistent. The video came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago at this point, of him working with his dad. His dad, Rick Brunson, pushing him to his limits and getting him to where he is today, making him such a good basketball player and such a big part of this team and the entire NBA. He's 6th in All-Star voting right now. I actually don't know if the second returns came back. I doubt they did. I don't think they did because that was. I think they might have. If they did, I'll put them up on the screen right here. But they might have not have. At least in the first returns, Jalen Brunson was 6th, and Julius Randle was not even in the top 10. We got to change that. This man Randle has gone crazy. Ever since he had that slow 5 to 10 game start, he's been on a rampage. Another 39 points for him. I know I've already said that. But then 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 of 8 from deep. Julius Randle should get his 3rd All-Star appearance and his 3rd All-NBA appearance. And Jalen Brunson should get his 1st of each of those awards. Jalen Brunson is somebody who, he's a superstar in the NBA. He is an incredibly good player. And I don't know how many point guards in the East are better than him. Trae Young is having a really good season, a career-high season. And he's still not better than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is still playing better basketball than Trae Young. Tyrese Halliburton is really the only point guard I would put ahead of Jalen Brunson. And he just got hurt. He didn't, it's not a serious injury, which is good, but somebody who does have a serious injury, Ja Morant, the high flyer himself. I want to finish talking about this Knicks game first, and then also talk about the national championship between Washington and Michigan. Before I get into that one, before I get into the Ja Morant injury, the Michigan-Washington game, it was pretty good. Washington had a chance to win. But Jim Harbaugh got his first natty as the Michigan head coach, and it could be his final one. And that could have been his final game as the coach of Michigan and a coach in the college football. He might be going to the NFL. Sources, a lot of people think he's going to. And I'll give you my top three teams for him that I think he's gonna go to if he does end up going to the NFL. But sticking with this one for just a couple more minutes because there was, although this was not an impressive win, the Wizards only have 6 wins on the season, and the Knicks have 21. It's gonna be 22 tonight after they kick the Portland Trailblazers out of New York and out of the Garden. Gotta humble them after they beat the Nets, our little brothers. So they came in, they beat up our little brothers. Now they're coming to now they're fighting the big brothers, and we gotta show them who's boss. Yeah, as you can see, I'm very confident in the Knicks taking this one. I don't know how much energy that the Blazers are gonna have. They've been in New York since Saturday, probably. Because they weren't on a back-to-back. They played the Mavs last in Dallas, and then they came and played the Nets on Sunday, had Monday off, and they faced the Knicks tonight. Scoot Henderson has been a bust so far. He hasn't done anything. So, and I'm not too worried that Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant are going to come into the Garden and beat a top 5 duo in the NBA, according to Kendrick Perkins, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson, who have been firing on all cylinders this last week or so. But now this week that I thought was going to be tough for the Knicks because they did have to play the Grizzlies and Mavs. It's going to be that we have one tough game against the Mavs, and with Ja out, the Grizzlies aren't that good. Steven Adams is out for the season also. So unless Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane can power the Grizzlies to victory, the Knicks go 2-1 this week. But it all starts tonight against the Blazers. Let's go Knicks. Knicks win 121-105, and they're gonna then another win, go to 5-0 in this new era of the OG Anunoby Knicks and the new look Knicks. But now getting to the team I just mentioned, the Memphis Grizzlies, because they lost their superstar point guard Ja Morant to a shoulder injury. He's not a soldier. He's a basketball player. But he has to have season-ending surgery on that. I can't talk right now. So the Grizzlies are going to be out without him for the rest of the season, and that's a big blow to them. Ja missed the first 25 games of the season with that suspension after he was waving the gun on IG Live and that whole drama. I don't even want to get into that. And then he comes back and he was hooping, and I thought the Grizzlies had a chance to make it back into the playoffs. But with this injury, they're cooked. There's no way that they make it into the playoffs now, or the play-in. It was a long shot to begin with, but now, especially with teams like the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Suns all fighting for those final play-in spots, I just can't see the Grizzlies getting into that conversation at all. But that Ja news is huge, and it might open up a player like Desmond Bane to be traded at the deadline. He did just get a huge contract. I think it was a max. And it also might open up a player like Jaren Jackson Jr. To be traded for, which I kind of like both of those options. Jaren Jackson Jr., really good defender, has led the league in blocks the last 2 seasons, I think. And if the Knicks could get him, I don't know if he'd start, but it'd be more preparation in case Isaiah Hartenstein walks in free agency this year. And he'd also be a really good option. He was an all-star last year, so he might start, but he's not as good this year. And Desmond Bane, he would start at the shooting guard position for us, move Dante to the bench, and Dante might be in that package. My dad wants the Knicks to trade him. At first, when I said it, he was reluctant. He said that nobody wanted him, but now he realizes that Dante is a really good role player and a good 3-and-D guy in the league, and a player that every team needs one player at least like that. And the Knicks have a bunch of them. And I've gone over this a couple times. You lost one in Quickly, but Quickly turned into a really good scorer, and he wasn't just a 3-point floater guy, which he was when he came in the league. He developed his pick and roll game, his mid range game, his layups. He got bigger. He was really skinny when he came into the league. And last year he got over 190 pounds, and he said that changed a ton for him, and that helped him to be a better player. I'm not gonna mention the jersey this episode. I said last episode, and I mention it every time. I'm not gonna do it this year. This episode. But yeah, quickly. As big as I thought losing him was gonna be, it hasn't hurt us as much as I thought, and that's gonna be huge if this deal turns out to be a win for the Knicks. Because, I mean, it could put us over the top. I don't think it is. We still need one more player. And I just want to talk about Stephen A. Smith for a couple of minutes. He calls himself a Knicks fan, right? Then proceeds to say that we are forced to watch this guy Hartenstein, as he calls him, Hartenstein, run out there every day. Hartenstein has gone crazy. And Hartenstein is not somebody that you are forced to watch. Hartenstein is somebody that you want to watch. He is a valuable piece to this team. And Stephen A. Smith obviously does not know a ton about basketball. Or not that he doesn't know a ton about basketball. It's just that that take wasn't that good. No disrespect to Stephen A. I think he's a great TV personality, and I would love to have him on the show. He's really big time though. One day he'll come on. Mark my words. And but that take just wasn't good. And Knick fans are bashing him for that right now. CP the franchise chimed in. He was bashing him about how it wasn't a bad take, and CP said he doesn't know much about basketball and doesn't know anything about the Knicks. And then he put his hashtag for the fans, by the fans underneath it, which was good because CP is a huge fan of the Knicks. And for the fans, by the fans is that like taking a shot at Stephen A. because he's saying he's not a real fan and stuff like that. Which I thought that was funny. It was good. And I kind of like the Knicks fans banding together against Stephen A. here. I feel like ESPN is always disrespecting us, and we have to show up for our team. Knicks fans are the greatest in the world. I've said it. Julius Randle said it. He even said before a playoff game last year, a reporter asked him about the Garden at the during playoff time, and his answer was, "It's the Garden, bruh." Which that was cold blooded, and Randall is cold blooded. And one thing I appreciate about Randall is that he doesn't really celebrate. Like he'll celebrate if like there's a reason to, but he's not like LaMelo Ball or even J.R. Smith going down on a knee at half court, strumming the 3-point guitar. That's cool though, but like I just feel like the fans wouldn't resonate with him as much if he did do all that stuff. All right, that's enough of Knicks and NBA talk for today. Let's get into the Michigan-Washington National Championship game and if Jim Harbaugh is going to go to the NFL. All right. Michigan wins 34-27. 14. Beat Michael Penix Jr. and company by 20 points. And Washington had a chance to win this game. Michael Penix Jr., he played well. Their running back was injured. I still think the Giants should take Penix Jr. I think he's a really good quarterback and he's going to have success in the NFL. But this just wasn't his night. And a big part of it is due to the refs. I don't think the whole game was blamed on the refs, but I think that a big part of it should be blamed on the refs. I watched the game and Michigan looked really good. And last game, J.J. McCarthy threw well, and they won it through the air. But this game, it was their rushing attack. They had two guys over 100 yards, and they scored at least two, probably three, three touchdowns on the ground. But yeah, they played really well, and they get their first national championship in 25 years. But more importantly, Jim Harbaugh might be leaving Michigan, and that is what a lot of people are talking more about. Because Harbaugh's been in the NFL before. He coached the 49ers to the Super Bowl and then lost to his brother, who was coaching the Ravens. But right now, my top three teams for Harbaugh to go to are the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Commanders. I know it seems generic, but I think those are really the only teams that are going to be looking for a quarterback or for a head coach. And if the Patriots are, I think they're going to get Mike Vrabel. I read today that they have mutual interest, but Bill Belichick is under contract for one more year. So we'll see if he rides it out and just coaches this year and then retires next year. But yeah, so I think Knicks win 121-105. Michigan wins the Natty 34-15. Ja's out for the season, and I think Jim Harbaugh is either going to go to the Falcons, Commanders, or Panthers. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, and this was the Sports Pod.